Okay, the first thing you want to do is get a foundation that is the same colour as your face. Don't get something that's darker because you're going to get an orange neck. It's better to use bronzer later to darken it up. So you want to get a matching foundation, grab it on your hands. You can use a sponge or a brush, but I'm going to do it on myself this way because it's easier. But if you're doing it on somebody else, you can get one of those little square, little white looking sponges, or you can use a foundation brush that looks like this and blend it this way. So you put it on and then you brush it, making sure that it's all blended in. Then if there's any blemishes or dark circles, pimples, pop your concealer on next. And then use a brush to blend in your concealer. So it's just going to even out the skin a little bit more. Under eyes is probably the most important one, and around the eyebrow. Then you want to seal the foundation and the concealer with a powder. So either a loose powder or a packed one, like this. And just do a layer all over to seal your foundation and make sure that it stays where it's supposed to be. The next thing you want to do is find a blush. A colour like this is really good for stage, but you don't want to do too much because you don't look like a clown.
Show again.
Just make sure you dab on your cheekbone and down a little bit. Not a line though, you don't want like a really dark, just strip. You want to blend it in a little bit. So you've got a nice looking coverage there. And I also like to use a bronzer on all the places that the sun would normally hit to make your face a little bit darker. So just the tip of your nose there, across your forehead a little bit. You can touch the cheeks up with the bronzer as well to go over the pink or the red. Your chin. And then blend it into the neck as well, the bronzer. Okay, so for your eyes, you're going to want a white colour for the first layer. Then you're going to want a brown, a dark brown for in here, along there. And I also like to use a really, really dark colour in the corners as well to lift the eye a little bit. So either a grey, a black, or a really, really dark brown. So we're going to start off with the white, which is this one here. And what you want to do is get quite a bit of it on your brush and then dab it on. Don't paint it, don't wipe it yet. You're just going to dab it on with a thicker brush. You'll blend later. You just want to make sure you've got a lot of light product on to begin with. But the blending part's important as well. Make sure you've got lots of white, especially in that top bit near the brow. You also want a bit of white in the corners. And then you can sort of even it up over the whole eye as well. It's not going to hurt.
So when you put your colours on, Jess, you don't want to see like strong definition?
You can at the beginning. You can, when you're dabbing it on, it's hard to tell with the white because this isn't a really strong white. Right. But once you've got the white on, then go get a smaller brush and go to your dark colour next. And this you also just dab on to begin with. So don't worry about getting it nice yet. Just dab it on in the eye crease. So where the eyeball would be in your eye, you're just going to dab it on with the brush. Don't start brushing it all out yet. Just get as much on as you can. And get like a nice line going. But it's not blended at the moment, so it looks a bit weird. But you just want to follow the crease of the eye. And get as much brown in those two creases as you can. Like that. Once you've got the brown in there, get your even darker colour. Or you can just use extra brown. I like to use like a grey black though. This looks a bit better. And put it in the corner there.
In the outside corner.
Outside corner. And then a bit on the other side. Not too much of this colour, because this is your dark one. You don't want to get crazy. It'll look like you've got a black eye. So this part in the middle sort of stays white, and then the outsides are brown. Then you're going to grab a bigger brush, so something like that, and you're going to blend it all together. So starting at the top, just make sure there's no other colours on your brush before you start, and you just want to blend all the colours together. Makes it look natural. Oops. Okay, and then you go the other side, and you just blend it all together. Because if you leave it, that's when it starts to look like clown makeup. And you just want it to look nice and heavy, but not drag queen like. And it's blended. Then you're going to need okay, this next part you can do either way. You're going to need a black line on the top of your eyelid. So you can either use a liquid eyeliner or a pencil. I prefer the liquid, but if you're not really good at drawing straight lines, or if the kids blink a lot, better off to use a little bit of pencil. I'll actually use the pencil first and show you how to do it, and then I'll use the liquid over the top. So with the pencil, what you want to do is get the eye closed, and you want to draw just really lightly a black line. Don't worry too much about going right to the inside, because that gets a bit fiddly, as long as you've sort of made it look a bit dark. Now if you're wearing lashes as well, this step isn't quite as important because the lashes will cover it, but if you're not wearing lashes, then it's important to do this part properly. From here, it's also really good to take this line out to the side, like that. Just a little tiny wing, not too crazy. But follow the line of brown in your lash. So if your brown finishes here, make sure you trace the brown line there and there. Then use a brush to just blend it in a little bit. So then if you've made any mistakes, it doesn't matter anyway. But blending's the most important part because that'll make it look better. If you want to do the liquid, it's exactly the same thing. I'm just going to get it closer to the liquid. You just need to find a spot here to start. The liquid will just stay on for longer. And then same thing, you draw your line out the side. And then on the other side. So it sort of looks a little bit like a cat eye. But again, if you've got blinkers or kids that won't sit still, don't do the liquid. Perfect. Make sure it's dry. You also want to put your black eyeliner on the underneath from about the middle all the way along there. Blend it with your line that you've already made, so keep drawing up to that line. Then same on the other side. Halfway.
Is that on the inside of your lashes or the outside? Or like
I lean it down and draw on the inside and the outside,
okay,
to get both bits.
Yeah.
But it is hard when you're not doing it on yourself. So if you have to just do it on the outside, that's okay as well. All right. Next, thing. Once your eyeliners are done, then you will put your mascara on. If you're not using any lashes, you can curl your eyelashes first. But if you're using lashes, don't worry about it. And just put a light layer on if you're using your lashes, because it's just to get rid of the powder that's on there. You don't really want to use much because your lashes are going to do all the work anyway. Before you put your lashes on, depending on what kind of eyebrows you have, it's really a good idea to define them a little bit so they don't get lost on stage. So not very much, you don't want it to look too dark, but just get the same brown as you used before with a little bit of powder. This one. Your same eyebrow brush, blow off most of the excess, and then just shade it in a tiny bit, just so it's a tiny bit more highlighted than normal. If you can see the difference between the two eyes, it just makes it look a little bit more finished. If your eyebrows are light blonde, just use a really light brown. And if your eyebrows are black or really dark brown, then you may not need to worry about this. Okay, I'll do the lashes last. Lips, get a red lip liner and outline your lip first. Do one layer, get a tissue, go like that, and do a second layer.
So just kiss it, blotting.
Yeah.
A kiss blot.
You want to get it off the pack. They'll come in a pack of 2 like that. If you have got a small eye or you're working with somebody that's a bit younger, you may want to cut it a little bit or cut it in half and just stick it on the outside if the whole thing's a little bit too much. So you can cut them in half and use half per eye as well, which is what I sometimes do. And actually, that's probably what I'll do today. I have cut them in half.
Oh, hang on, where are we? Oh, all right. Continue.
Cut them in half. The longest lash length is what goes at the outside of your eye. So you want to get some glue and put some on the lash. You don't put the glue onto your eye. You put it on the lash. Careful, it comes out fast. And you only need a tiny bit. If you use too much, it won't stick. So just a little bit across the eye. Make sure that, although there's glue on the whole line though, so none of it peels up. And then you just want to take that bit on your eye, get as close to the lash line as possible, stick it down. Once it's stuck, then if it's flat a little bit, you just put your hand underneath and you just hold it for a second till it's sitting up in the place you want it to sit up. And you just sort of maneuver it a bit that way until it's in the right spot.
Just have a close up of that, how you're putting the glue on.
Okay. Once it's out a bit, so that starts to come out fast at the beginning, and then just sort of distribute it over the whole lash. And then don't freak out that it's white because it will dry clear. And then put your hand underneath it, blink a few times, make any adjustments if they're... Make sure all your eye makeup is done though before you put your lashes on and it's dry. From there, once they're on, then grab your mascara and set. Just put on your mascara like normal, just be a bit more careful because they're on, but they shouldn't go anywhere once they're glued on. And you want to join your real eyelashes to the fake eyelashes using the mascara.
So at the end of the night, are they easy to take off, or do you just peel them off, or do you need to take them off?
At the end of the night, you can just peel them off by the lash. You just grab it and peel it off.
Okay.
You don't need any special solutions or anything. And then you stick them back on here because you can reuse them a few times.
Oh, okay. So right.
Yeah. So take them off at the end of the time you're using them, stick them back on the thing, and put them back in their packet, and they'll be good to go for a few times. They're actually better the more times you use them because they'll stick on there better. The first time's hard to get.
Say if some of the mums have bought the self-adhesive ones, would you recommend them to put a bit of glue on them as well?
The first time, use the self-adhesive in rehearsal.
Yeah.
See how it sticks. But the second time you wear them, you'll need to use the glue.
Okay. And this makeup that you've shown us today, is this for our junior, inter and senior show groups?
Yeah.
Say for our little ones for concert time, would they need to go to that
For
much
our little
trouble?
ones for concert time, your lipstick wouldn't be as dark. It would be more of a pinky shade of lipstick. You won't need to use as much black eye makeup. So for the little ones, the eyeshadow, just a little bit of brown, a little bit of white, and a little bit of mascara. Okay. None of the bold black lines that the older kids have. If you're in a Tinies class, and if you don't want to use foundation for Tinies, you don't have to. You can just use a powder makeup, so something like that, which will just brush on as a powder and some blush. And that will be enough.
Just move that around a bit.
So,
just a compact.
Just a compact powder for the Tinies.
Okay.
So a pressed powder with a blush. You don't have to do the foundation step for the Tinies.
And pale pink lipstick for Tinies, and then other groups sort of within go into red.
Exactly. When you finish your Tinies groups, then everyone looks like this. Red lips, brown and white eyeshadow, black mascara, black eyeliners, red lips.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.